Alright everyone, I know I'm no Billy Mays, God rest his soul, but I got a product here that I'm pretty impressed with, and if I'm impressed with a product, it's got to be pretty good. It's by Crystal View. It's something that's on the market that I didn't know was on the market, but when we got our 99 Taurus there, the headlights were a little yellowed and fogged, so I went out and I got this kit, and it worked. I wanted to do a video on it, but I never got around to it. Well, we've recently upgraded to a few years newer Taurus, and the headlights have done the same. Basically, it gets to an age when the plastic shell gets, scratched up from road and all this and that, and ends up getting oxidized. Well, this product from Crystal View, it's a headlight cleaner, restore and defogger. I found it originally at an auto store here in town, but I've actually found it now at Walmart, and it's a few dollars cheaper. It was $20, 19 something for this little package. And this does both headlights on one vehicle. It takes about 5 minutes per headlight. Because I've done it before, I might actually speed that up to actually being 5 minutes. But it takes care of both headlights, and because it is a chemical, it might cause some eye and skin irritation. You also might want to throw on a shirt, and maybe some other clothing that you don't really care about. Get rid of jewelry and watches and that sort of stuff. It does have some gloves inside, but, I don't worry about this shirt because it's already got bleach stains in it. I got it from Goodwill. What do I care? Now, Ford went and made it pretty easy to get these headlights out, actually. There's just a couple of retaining clips that go all the way down. With the proper tools, they come out easy. And just one little bolt over here, which is an 8mm. Take that out. With a little bit of finagling, comes right out. Just remove the light cases. And they've got the turn signal. That's a nasty looking bulb. They've got the turn signal wires here. They're just taped onto a little piece of plastic. Just go ahead and take that off. But it's better to take them off than to damage the paint. Okay, the instructions are really simple, and the only thing that's not included in this kit is you need a little bit of water. And I wouldn't suggest using a bowl that you would really care about, because the chemicals in there, I wouldn't suggest ingesting it, especially if they say on the back of this thing here, in case of, don't induce vomiting. So, yeah, use a throwaway dish. Like I said, the reason it's better to take it off is because when you get up into the crevices here, you don't want to touch the paint because it actually can ruin the paint. I didn't take the headlights off for the white Taurus, and I did notice it after a little while that it kind of ate through the clear coat. So really good to take it off if you can. If not, be very careful. Maybe put some masking tape around the headlight, around the gasket, and that sort of stuff. Okay, this first step, take the headlight, put the rubber glove on, take the brown sandpaper, I think that's the one with the coarser grit, and what you need to do, the surface has to be moist at all times. So this is where the water comes in. You can have a spray bottle of water, which might be a good idea as well, but they say to wet the brown and rub it vigorously for 3 minutes. And now after 3 minutes, just kind of wipe it down, take a look at it, and it looks nasty. It looks worse now because you've all scratched it up, but the end result, it's worth it. Now at this point, if it looks like it's free and clear of damage, basically it should look uniform. It's pretty much ready to go to the next step. That's where you use the blue sandpaper. And again, you got to moisten that down. Do this for approximately 1 minute. and it looks a little hazy still, but it does look a little better at the same time. This is where it starts to get into the chemicals. The CV1 package. Place a dime size amount onto one of the cloths and vigorously wipe into the shell for approximately 1 minute when it starts drying. Okay. Now we'll turn it over and wipe the rest of the product off. Take a damp piece of paper towel, wipe the residue off. At this point, it's going to look pretty much like it's going to look when it's actually sealed. This whole step was just a damage removal. Okay, this is where it gets tricky. 2 pouches of CV2 per headlight, and there's 3 of these cloths total. 1 for the CV1 and 1 per CV2. So 1 per pouch basically, per headlight. 6 total. What you're going to do is you're going to empty the CV2, the entire contents, onto the cloth. You're going to come over to the headlight and you're going to wipe. It has to be wiped while it's wet. If it starts to dry, you're going to pull the finish. So you have to make sure that it's still moist and still wet. Do not use the water, just this stuff. Do the 1 coat, let it dry, and do the next coat. Okay. Now, you got to let that dry, so now is a good time to go and start on the other headlight. Okay, it's now time for number 2 of the 2. Once again, got to be quick and just do fluid movements. Don't make it blotchy. This one's going to be the final seal. Remember to use just a little bit of pressure, just light pressure. You don't have to force it onto it. You have about 20 seconds before it really starts to dry. Give or take, depending on your location. And that there is basically all you can do. Now you got to just let that dry. And put her back in. Okay, a little side-by-side comparison. This here hasn't been touched yet. And there's the new product. So it definitely does do a world of good, because you'd be surprised at how much light is actually lost as soon as it gets all weathered compared to the new look. So now all that's left is just put the bulbs back into it and connect it all back to the body. You might also want to be careful at this point, because the finish might not be 100% dry. So just be careful. They say do not wash the vehicle. Don't let any water touch it. So we'll try to make sure it doesn't get rained on for at least 24 hours. They also say that it's a good idea to go to an auto parts store and get a synthetic sealer and just throw it on there, and throw one on every 2 to 3 months. But we had ours for about a year on the 99, and they were perfectly fine without the sealer. So it all depends on your preference. If you're going to keep the car for a long while or what have you. Now that they're installed, all that's left is just a test. That looks a lot better.